So I don't know if you guys noticed this. For Haley's book, I don't know. Apparently you can, but I don't know.
Yes, you can.
But
Did you test the audio?
you already did that.
Okay.
So as then more and more I was reading it, especially from the prologue, I've noticed with this book, I can't tell with your book.
I'm not
It's-
like other girls.
It shows like the icicles and stuff around the shift, and then
What do
the
you think
eye
hers
is the
book looks
coffin.
It's a giant fucking snowflake.
But you can tell
That's
more.
nice.
It's more like what I'm saying is like more of you can tell like the eye is the coffin of the ice box that they're in.
It's not a coffin. It's more of like a.
Well,
I said the
you've
ice
been
box.
in his coffins a couple times.
Yeah.
So like the more I was reading it, I was like, wait a minute. Oh, that makes perfect sense. But overall,
Oh, mine up. It's different.
yeah, that
Sorry.
I know yours is
Sorry,
like an
just
icicle,
finish your
but
thought.
yours is an icicle, but I felt like that with just like more details into like actually what it is than
Well,
a
since you want
snowflake.
to break down the cover, how about you kind of give us an overlay of what we've read so far?
An overlay.
Overlay. Donald's
Overview.
all right.
Overview, overlay,
Can I?
delay
do it?
over.
Can I
I
do
guess
it?
you can't talk.
No,
No,
I got.
I've been having trouble lately. Go ahead.
I don't want you getting upset when I interrupt you. Then, okay?
I will.
But, all right, we'll just ignore it. Just keep talking over you.
Okay.
So Donald is part of all the reason why the silos are a thing. He had some. He's like in a love mix. He likes his ex still, but of course, he cares more about his wife. And he was like, "Get away, Anna." Troy got some problems.
Troy got some problems.
Troy got some problems.
Troy has
That's the
anxiety
summary I
disorder.
have. But I have a theory, and I hope
You didn't
it's.
really, that
I
was
know.
a great breakdown.
It was
I know
great.
it sucked,
You did a great job.
but I just want to talk. I want to just talk about the cover, and I also want to. My theory. I'm probably am wrong. I feel like Troy.
Before you get into your theory, Haley, do you want to summarize a little bit more for him? Yeah, I can't. I would do it, but I struggle busting talking.
Okay, so the book opens with pre-silo, everything's fine world. A man in politics.
All right, that
who's
was
just been
cool, but
elected.
this thing. Good. Sorry.
Gonna make frickin' lose it. And this man named Donald gets elected into office, and they find out they wanted his architecture skills to build like a silo-like building. Looks familiar, right? He ends up getting really paranoid and stressed out because they have to read the order, which is from the book. And he's realizing that the government is doing some really sketchy stuff that he can't tell a lot of people about, and he tells his wife Helene about it. Helen? Sorry, it's probably Helen. I read it as
Helen.
Helene for some
What?
reason.
Never met anyone named Helen before?
Helen Keller.
Um, and and Helen thinks he's just a little nuts, so he gets prescribed some anti-anxiety medication. Meanwhile, we're also getting Troy, who seems to be like head of he's like number one in this building that is head of the whole silo operation, but it's laid out differently. They have elevators. Then we also are introduced to this thing called the shift, and these nanotechnologies are these pills that keep them like healthy. And so we're learning that they fall asleep in these cryogenic chambers, and then they wake up, and those are the shifts, so that people get cycled through. That way they don't age, or like they can stay a lot longer than normal. And Troy starts to, because he stops taking his pills because they were like numbing him, and he was like really toxic, and he was really sad. And he starts to remember some like things from his life, and it gets really crazy. But yeah, that's it. Did I miss stuff? I feel like I missed stuff.
That's what we're here to talk
well,
about.
We'll touch on everything, but that's a pretty good.
So back to me.
summary.
Back to me. This guy.
Let's
My
hear that theory,
theory. Troy is Donald.
That's not
Yeah.
really a theory. That's
It's confirmed.
Is it? Was it confirmed?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, my name's not Troy, it's Donnie. No,
That's not
something
right
like
either.
that.
Yeah, when he said that, I was
I'm
like,
forgetting
"That's
something.
Donald," and I was like, "What everyone else knows about this? Apparently, I'm just dumb."
You're like, I can't wait to blow these guys' mind, dude.
Well, because it doesn't
No,
really exactly confirm it.
No, it's very vague, but it's he alludes to it, and like the fact that there's parallels between the flashbacks between Troy being like, I feel like I'm forgetting something, and Donald's last moments before he's in the silo being like, I forgot Helen. Like
Because the
those
whole
are-
thing that like triggered him like freaking out and getting put back to sleep, or like getting put to sleep but still woke up in his room to like work his night shift, was like when he kept seeing the names. He saw two names, Helen,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Wait a
I think
minute."
it was Anna. Didn't Anna? I feel like at one point he was like, "This was the one who wanted to be my wife, but wasn't my wife."
I feel like we're kind of jumping pretty far in. If we want to like start a little earlier.
Okay, so look, earlier chapter 1, way too damn long.
It was
Way
really
too damn long. I was just like, I don't care. Let's move on.
I was like, "Where is frick? I even forgot her name. Where's Juliet? Like, what are we doing?"
We're done with Juliet for now. As far as I know,
think-
we're done with
As
Juliet.
far as I can tell, I think we're done with Juliet.
Yeah, we're moving on to other silos. What silo was Juliet in again?
18. It was
'Cause they did
17,
bring up-
18, the ones that we were switching between. 17 was the one Solo was in.
Because they did bring up Silo 18 towards the end. But anyways, besides that, Donald
You said let's get
was
in
kind
earlier.
of like, yeah. Well, then you guys keep bringing
He's
up
doing
other
it
stuff.
now.
So Donald, who was in chapter 1, beginning of the book. Let me forget my point. I feel like. What was the guy's senator's name?
Dunman?
Senator Oh, they called
Thurman?
him Thawman or something, right? Crap, no, that's not it.
Truman?
Thurman.
I'm
He's
trying to-
Anna's dad.
Yeah, something like that. But he was like he's I guess a friend of the family technically because he knows his sister and everything, and he really got behind him in order for him to get elected.
I think he was like a
Dude,
family
because
friend
He was
before he
dating
was like
Anna
mayor or
Yeah.
something.
before he got elected.
No, because
Yeah.
he said
So
Donald
maybe
was
then.
saying that he was talking about him like shaking him on his leg, like he like placed the kid on his leg and then you shake it, you know,
Ugh.
like Santa Claus.
No, I know. I think it's because like him and Mick are best friends, right? And Mick's like his kid.
He doesn't have kids.
Mick was the senator's kid,
No, Anna
and
was.
Anna's brother.
Were they?
Do they know
so
each
Mick
other?
is Anna's brother.
They know
That's why
each other,
she's on the
but
case, too. I'm pretty sure. Let me.
no, because Donald
really-
and Mick were best friends. Donald dated Anna, and then the senator is the family
Senator.
friend. That's how Donald and Anna know each other. And
Because I think they
Who the
knew
heck's
his
this
dad.
senator?
Dunman.
It's like Terman, something like that. I know it starts with a T.
It's like THR, right?
Oh, okay. So Anna's dad.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
What do you mean? Not that you're aware of?
I think it does say it in the first chapter. Was dad.
Gentle with you? Yeah.
Yeah, because and then he introduces Anna, his ex, which he didn't want to work with. It was like, well, this engineer is going to be involved in the project as well, and so he's whole beginning of the Donald's chapters is him pretty much making the blueprints for the silo,
Mhm.
and he was always kind of like, what? I don't
like
really see the point
Thurman.
of making something.
THURMAN.
Thurman. Okay.
Yeah, that you're going to be in charge of
He's the senator.
making this, and he's like, why should I be making this thing that's not ever going to be used?
Oh, right. They thought it was just in theory. But then, like, didn't the, like, Thurman comes to him and is like, do you believe in aliens? And he was like, no.
Or zombies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because they were saying like the CDC was bringing up zombies. I was like, oh, Haley's not gonna want to read this if there's zombies in it.
I don't fuck with that shit.
No, but yeah, he's like, it's really don't see the point of this. And he was talking about, was it Korea? Making these little nanobots that they already have that are for medical use, and they're like, that's what the Koreans are doing. They're going to be sending over these the little nanobots, and they can travel. You know how far stuff can travel with just wind? They're all tiny, and they're going to just go ahead and kill everybody. So that's why we need to make these things. And he kind of just starts going crazy. I thought it was when he went to see Thurman in that like weird like vault type thing.
It was the hospital with the nano things.
Yeah, it was the hospital.
Yeah.
And he just kind of was like, I don't want those things on me. They're like bugs. He's like, oh, don't worry. They know the difference between me and you. And he's like, oh, I kind of feel them on me. Like, he's all weirded out. And then at that point is when he gave him the book for the order. So as far as I know,
well, when he back to like when he was like leaving that place, and the senator's like, oh yeah, I lied. They can't tell the difference.
Crack joke. It makes them all paranoid, but also it doesn't feel like a joke. Like, all of it feels very tin hat conspiracy theory, but it's all kind of true kind of thing.
I want to say tin hat?
Yeah.
It's tinfoil hat.
Whatever. Semantics.
Tomato. Let's get back to the ending. I also feel like the senator planned for the nuke to go off.
Do we know it's a nuke, though? We know it was a bomb.
I knew it was something.
Because
Something
apparently,
I do think the officials knew something. Because, like, Anna was chasing him down because she knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, because Helen's like, finally got through. He's like, where you at? And she's like, I'm in Tennessee. He's like, what are you doing in Tennessee? And as soon as he went to turn on his ATV, Anna's like, give me those. These are my keys. And he's like, you're being rude to the people seeing this little girl singing the song. And he's like, you're right. And then he starts running.
Starts huffing it.
Yeah. And then she's like, whoa, dude, stop. And then she tries like shielding his eyes from the explosion and whatnot.
And his sister rolls up out of nowhere.
Yeah, his sister rolled up.
Yeah, Senator got her there.
Yeah, the senator likes his sister.
So also there was a moment where Mick pulled him into the silo and they're looking at one of the rooms and he's like, I love you, man. And it's like this very like touching bro moment, but I think Mick threw him under the bus for that role of Troy, of being like the leader, because he didn't want it. That's my theory.
Yeah, probably.
Because he was like, remember this when it all happens.
I thought there was going to be a murder. I was like, oh shit. Who's dying?
It's very obvious.
And I'm like,
This is a shift.
Nobody's dying yet.
I was like, oh shit, we're getting
that's
close.
a lie. Somebody did die. As far as we know. As far as we know, we already know how he was in the first book. We can't assume somebody's dead unless it says that they're dead. So,
True.
What was that guy's name? He was there like briefly when he starts like freaking out.
A lot of the characters for me are forgettable.
Yeah, well, I mean, even when we first started reading Wool, I wrote everybody's names down because I'm usually terrible at names. So as we read it more, I'm sure we'll get to know the characters.
There's just so much jumping. It's just like, who the hell is this?
It's not that confusing.
I liked it this time between Troy and Donald because we eventually find out they're the same person and it comes together as like this full arc. I liked that.
I really don't remember anybody's names when they're in the silo besides Troy, Donald, or Donnie, whatever his mom wants to call him. So, but with Troy was kind of interesting how he comes out of the coffin, as they call it, and he just kind of like being very confused and whatnot, and like, hey, you're Troy. He's like, all right, I'm Troy. And I feel like the medication is to like somewhat give them strength, but at the same time, of course, as we know, it's to make them forget, because when he was trying to solve the crisis in, does anyone remember what silo he was trying to solve the crisis in?
The first one?
12.
12. Yeah, so in Silo 12, where they have cameras in the silos that they can view that apparently these other generations of people don't know about. That they're like, all right, well, since you got to kind of write down what happened, you're going to stop your medication for a little while so that way you can recall. And then I feel like that's what kind of led him to being like, well, if I stop entirely, what else am I going to remember?
Didn't he stop
Well-
entirely because he kept like pretending to take the pill and he wasn't actually taking
Well,
it?
that situation happened
That's-
first.
This is after.
Oh.
Well, this is also, we also get like a snippet before they put him back under from the doctor telling him like only certain people take the pills, and it's the people who have regrets. The ones who don't take the pills are people who are like fine being in the operation and can live with like the atrocities that have been committed.
Yeah, because none of the doctors
Yeah.
apparently take it.
I think it's very few select people that take the medication. But yeah, they'll just rotate them out so that way
thought
they
it
don't
was
age. Because they're supposed to be there until the end.
That's true.
Go ahead.
Well, because they're like tasked with like restoring humanity, right? They're saving the world, and that's like
It was
the
more of like a
headquarters, right?
It was more of like a self-appointed task, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're the ones who did it, obviously. Like, that's what we're learning.
Yeah, but definitely the senator set up that explosion because he's like, hey, this time
Yeah.
this jet show is gonna start, and was it quite the show?
I thought it was interesting, though, that we also get a snippet of, like, learning that not all of the silos are built the same way.
I think
As far as I
think
know,
Silo
just
1
person.
is the only different one since it's the main
No,
one.
they're all built different.
But then why was
He's
17 and
talking
18
about-
silos
That's why
the
she
same?
called it Tennessee, because Tennessee was in charge of building that silo. And
I
that's
thought
why
that-
he's like going to get her because she's at a different silo that like Tennessee designed. There's a conversation between him and Anna. Like, I'll find it.
I thought it was because they're on the bordering of those states, but then again, I don't really remember where all the
Wait.
states are. Because
Me
they're in
neither.
Georgia. They're in Georgia.
They're in Georgia.
Yeah, but apparently Tennessee's right over the hill.
Hey, let me Google the U.S. map.
I'll do the same.
USA map. Where's Georgia? I have a general idea of where Georgia. Yeah, Georgia and Tennessee are bordering states.
Oh, okay, so I might be wrong about this, but I could have sworn that the designs were different. Let me quick see if I can.
No, because even when we started the last
Okay.
chapters that kind of go into Silo 18 again.
Are you ready? I found it.
Wow.
'Cause I was really hoping to tour one of the other bunkers. He said changing the subject. It'd be interesting to see what the other teams came up with. Apparently, though, I don't have the clearance. And Anna says, I tried the same thing. I'm dying to see our competition, but I can understand them being sensitive.
No, they were talking about older bunkers. If you read back a little bit more, they're talking about other bunkers in the past, so like history of
trust you.
like during like World War II and whatnot, or when we were like,
But
I guess
why
it's
would
kind
you
of
try
related to
tour
true
them,
history.
then?
Why not? Why wouldn't they?
I think you're wrong, but we can move on.
No, because even when they, I guess technically since we've already seen Silo 18 that they were this kind of technically the same, and then even in Silo 12, the very brief description of it seems similar to the other ones.
I don't know.
It's like it's built the same, but like certain things are different, like little things.
It could be. I just have a theory that there's some that aren't different.
But pretty much Silo, I believe
Well,
Silo
that's
1
already
is probably like
proven.
way bigger
Silo 1's
than
in
the
there.
other silos, just because they have, but probably more people. They have frozen people. Oh, the men and
They have
women are.
frozen people. They have human popsicles.
They have human popsicles, and then the women and children are separated from the men in Silo 1. And then
No, it's just the women. There's no women whatsoever.
the women and children are kept
Yeah, they
separated from the
children.
men.
It said women and children.
Oh, I didn't really remember the children.
The
But yeah,
only
there's-
ones
But-
that
So they talk about having the women separate and removed from the environment, but like when it initially happened and Troy's remembering things, he's remembering them freezing the women and the children first.
Because he said it was kind of like save the women and children first type of thing. But and then he learned in other silos that the women aren't separated. And then he gave some kid permission to
ask a question,
get married. Yeah. That was like the first
person he
ever talked to. And then we get a glimpse of
Silo 18, and it's chaotic. And there's some kid named Mission, and there's graffiti, and it's kind of like this like balls to the wall.
I wonder if it being Silo 18, if that's like whenever. Is it the beginning of before Mayor Maz, or what was her name again? The first, no, the mayor, before Juliet, and before the rat guy.
So long ago. Marnes? No, that was the deputy. I don't know. I know who you're talking about though.
Well, I was wondering if it's when they first start becoming mayor, or when they were first mayor and deputy, or before that
revolution.
Because they talked about the uprising in like 78.
These are their kids or something. Because it seems like they've had like a whole civil rights thing with the classes being like upper level, lower level.
Because it's also talking about the first uprising that happened in Silo 18.
Is it though?
I mentioned it.
Says, it's like pretty much the beginning of the uprising.
Silo 18, the year of the Great Uprising.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is like, is that the Great Uprising?
Of 18?
It has to be the last uprising prior to what we just read in Wool. But then again, I don't remember what Silo number.
They're an 18?
They have to be an 18.
It's
They're
Silo
18.
18, my guy.
What do you mean there has to be 18? There's other uprisings and other silos. What do you mean?
Right, but I think
we just learned about 12
all we really read about was 17 and 18.
It makes sense that it's the one with Juliet because
this kid doesn't read the book.
Oh my god. You don't read the book.
He
said, know what silo we're talking about.
He said we've only learned about those two silos, but we already read
about Silo 18, 17, and 18.
Shut up. We're telling.
I'm talking about the first book we read about Silo 17 and 18.
Yeah, but doesn't remember 17 or 18. What was this, Dragon Ball?
One is Solo, and one is Juliet Silo. One of those, okay?
I didn't say it was 12. But we did learn about Silo 12's uprising. Because that's when he like got on the mic and was like, "Hey, I know you know who I am, but go in the cell, lock yourself in, and just."
We'll learn about what happened, but you're dead.
In the shower.
Did he?
Yeah, he like has a panic attack afterwards.
Yeah, but he pretty much Silo 12 is gone, and he like crosses it out.
Yep.
I think he notifies the other silos as well, maybe, I don't remember. The beginning of this book, I was just like, oh, can there something pick up? This is just dragging, like, didn't care about Donald, didn't care about Troy, I started caring about Donald, and apparently when I found out Troy was Donald, I was like, oh shit, what did they know about this? Like, overall, I mean...
Overall, I think like
I don't really care about the book so far. I mean, I'm starting to get interested in it the more.
Yeah,
I
it starts to get good. Like it was like
it took 21 chapters for me to be like, oh wow, this is cool. I'm like, chapter 1 way too long, and to say that again, way too damn long.
The first chapter's in, I'm like, is this next video gonna be how we DNF the Silo series?
None of us were feeling it, yeah.
But I think it gets better. It definitely does. There's a lot of things that happen that just weren't memorable. I want to say that like the characters are memorable, but I feel like at the end of the day they are.
I think the only one really memorable is Donald, Donnie, Troy. That's the only one so far.
I wouldn't say that necessarily. I'm just trying to give it the benefit of the doubt that I'm like terrible with names. As like I talk to people every day for a living, and they're like, "Oh, my name's this, and this is this," and I'm like, what is their name? Like they just told me their name. Like I don't remember their name. I don't know what I asked for it again awkwardly. So like that's the only thing I'm like trying to give it the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we just didn't really discuss that happened. Like I don't recall like the order of it, but it's definitely getting better. There will be a second part, so hopefully it continues to get good. Because I don't know, like, do you want to rate it so far? What do you think? Do you want to compare
it's too
it?
early for reading.
Do we want to compare it to the first book beginning?
I have a thought.
Okay.
So, do you guys know anything about like Greek writings?
I knew Greek
Like, have you heard of
mythology.
Helen of Troy, and
I've
how
heard
she starts
Kratos.
the whole war because she gets kidnapped, and then Troy goes to war to like bring her back.
I like Greek
No.
mythology, but I don't know what you're talking about on that one.
Okay, well, it's not mythology, I don't think. I don't know. I need to brush up on it, but I was connecting the like Helen and Troy kind of thing.
Is that where the Trojan horse thing comes from?
Yeah.
I don't know about the Trojan horse. You,
Okay.
you remember the Trojan horse, Joseph? You know what a Trojan horse is?
I can't say what I think.
It's not the condom.
That's what I was. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay, anyways, we could compare it
Hold
to
on.
the first book.
Well, we just tell Joseph what a Trojan horse is. So a Trojan horse, Joseph, you're like, hey, here's this gift. And you're like, oh, cool, you bring it in your house.
Is it the one that was stuff's hidden inside?
Yeah, they're like, the
Oh.
actual story is that like a big thing of a horse, and they're like, oh, cool, let's bring it inside. And then a little bit later, a bunch of soldiers just ran out. And they're like, all right, you're all dead now. And that's what the Trojan horse is.
Oh, okay.
Alright, go ahead.
Yeah. I knew about that, but I didn't know that it was called the Trojan horse.
Yeah, because they built a giant horse and they left it on the doorstep. And they're like, oh, cool, a gift!
I like horses.
The
They're all a bunch of horse
horsey.
girls. No, I think that this one definitely had a much slower and less interesting opening than Wool did. Wool was very like, oh my gosh, there's this, now this, now this, you know.
What,
like,
in
things
first
were
5
happening.
chapters, someone
Boom,
was
boom,
dead?
boom. Yeah, and you wanted to keep reading. Like, I was sucked in. And this one, it was a drag. It was hard. I couldn't
Yeah.
care about Donald. I wanted to know about Silo 18, so I'm looking forward because I do want to know what's going on in the silos. But yeah, it definitely wasn't as quick as the first one.
I just think it was more interesting than the first one. It's just setting the scene. It set the scene for everything quick, and then this one's like, oh, this is everything before that. And it's like, cool, we want to know how it happened regardless, but like, dang, it was dragged out so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do I need to know who was elected? Why were they elected? Like, what? Why the mayor goes to do these nano things? Like, I don't. Why do I need to know about Donald's love life with Helen? Is kind of interesting, and then
Well, he
Anna,
loves his wife, and Anna, I think, loves him.
yeah. But it's like, why does all that matter? Like, some
think
parts
it's-
I think mattered, but a lot of it didn't. Like, why do I care about this guy and his nano things? Or why did it take like
that's
almost
to
a whole
show-
chapter to explain that he went to go meet the senator or whatever the hell they Thurman at at this random coffee shop instead of this one and that's closer to this? It's like,
There was a bunch of
who
extraneous details.
cares?
Yeah.
He met him at a
So
coffee
sad.
shop. All right, all right.
I'll
cool.
just say it. It's still a better description compared to Red Mars. It's still better than
I'd
that.
rather read about the staircase again
Wow, dang.
because the chapter's
I feel
what?
like-
First chapter's 20 pages long.
So long.
The prologue was really good. I enjoyed the prologue. The prologue, I was like,
There
oh,
was a prologue? That was good. That was good.
the prologue got me. And I was like, oh snap, this would be tight.
I don't
God
remember
damn it, this sucks.
No, definitely the first one. I feel like it was kind of the author was more of like, let me grab these people's attention. You know, like, hey, all this crazy stuff. Like, this is how the world works, and this is, you know, how it kind of just breaks it down. Like, if people want out, they get out, and then it kind of gets into it really of like the reasons why people go out, and then that doesn't really just describes it to you a little bit, tells you how it works, and then it gives you a whole story of this Marshall and like his story and how he went out, and it's very emotional. Like, oh, his wife went out, she went crazy, that he just wanted out because he missed his wife, and maybe she was
No,
right.
it was the
blah, blah,
sheriff.
Yeah.
Holston
that's
was
what
the
I'm saying.
sheriff.
He's
His name
just
is Marshall.
comparing this- No, it wasn't.
No, it was Holston.
Oh, was that Marshall?
Holston.
Holston. My bad.
Did you even
Holston.
read the
It's been
first
down a
book?
while. You're good.
No, did you even read the first book, dude?
We're supposed to be reading? I thought we were listening to the audiobook. Anyways, so compared to the first one, it's definitely like a fast-paced book. Like, it really gets into it pretty quickly. There's like very rarely a good dull moment compared to the second book, which is kind of like, all right, let me slow it down now. You already kind of know what this series is going to be about, so let me slow it down, give you all the information you need, you know, the background, because people were asking for it. We were wondering the whole time, every discussion that we had about the first book was like, well, I wonder what happened with this part and this part, and now we're getting it and we're upset about it. But
So here's
it is very slow.
Yeah, I think it's because he already like assumes that since we're reading the second book, he has us hooked. And there is a similar arc with Holston, right? We get invested in this guy and in his life, and then like he dies. So I don't think it bodes well for Troy. But also he's kind of setting it up to have him be like a main player. So I don't know. I don't trust the author or these characters.
Yeah, definitely. I still think all the other silos except for Silo 1 are the same. And Silo 1 is all the people who are like important that need to be there when they rebuild the world. So that's why whoever's in Silo 1
It's the government.
needs to be there at the end. Yeah, it's the government.
I think it's not everyone. I think majority of Silo 1, of course. But I feel like there's
Besides,
still
like-
like the little grunts there.
Besides needing like women and children.
But they're all like women and children that are important to these officials.
Exactly. Like, if they're
Who are
women
in
and
the
children
know.
of like governors. As far as we know, it's like doctors, because who doesn't need doctors? Doctors, governors. I'm sure there's like some high-level engineers in there. There's obviously military personnel because his sister's there.
Security guards too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's high-value people that are there.
Alright, well I'm excited to see what happens with these silos, man. Oh, they woke Troy up. We missed that. We woke Troy
Yeah.
up because of what's going on in Silo 18.
Yeah, they're like, hey, there's a problem with
And
Silo
it's been,
18,
like-
which
50 or 60 years since they put him back under.
we forgot to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Troy thought he was gonna die because of the fact that they found out he stopped taking his pills. We should probably mention that in this first video. But Troy stopped taking his pills, and then they're like, "Come on, Troy, what the hell, man? All right, let's go. Don't fight us." He's like, "All right," and then they're like, "Do I just die now?" He's like, "Yeah."
Well, because he wandered
And-
down to a random place.
No, it wasn't a random place. It's
Well,
where
to
they have all
the,
the
to the
first-
deep freeze again. And
which
then
he did go to.
He
the
was
first
like, "You
time.
can't be here," and he was like,
Well, he was there
"Oh,
before.
it's fine." And he's
Because
like,
he helped to escort Carlton,
I couldn't tell you his name.
whatever his name
Yeah.
was, the guy who they first killed.
Yeah, he held down his
Allegedly.
boots.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
He's the one who held down
they,
his boots.
they took him back there. So I don't know if he's frozen again.
That's where
or
the
not.
first freak out happened, and he woke up in his room and was like, "What happened?" And then he randomly went back down there, and then the doctor's like, "Hey man, you can't be here. Let's go." He goes, "No, I want to stay here." And the doctor's like, "No, you can't be here. Let's go."
It's too
And
cold in
he's
here.
like,
You ain't got
"Okay."
shoes on.
He was
You're
like,
gonna
"My
freeze
toes
to
are cold."
death.
And then we find out
okay.
Troy's alive. So we know Troy slash Donnie. He goes by Troy slash Donnie. Is still alive, and they woke him up, and like, there's a problem with Silo 18. He's like, "What the hell's going on?" Like, "Yeah, you just woke me up, dude. I was hoping that we would be out of the silo or getting out of the silo right now, but I guess not."
I think the senator woke him up because he goes, "Wait, I know you. It's you." And he calls him the Thaw Man. which is like Thurman's like slang, right?
I thought they heard him. It was like behind him. He's like, that sounds like a familiar voice. I don't know who that is though.
Okay. Well, I think it's the senator.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
So we're gonna read. That
Next time on Shift.
Triple Threat Read Shift.
Read shift.
Book 2 Shift.
Reading 26 to 51, right?
Yeah. So
What do you mean 26? I thought we read 26.
we read 25.
20. to
What
20.
chapter are you on?
Did
Hold
you
on.
read longer than us, sir?
Hold on. Let me pop into the general chat right now.
26.
Did you read
You
26? I did.
226.
Oh, I read a 27.
Oh, well, you're ahead of the game, brother.
I understood it as
You're ahead of the game,
26
brother.
too. Read chapter 26. I was like, what do you mean I have to read chapter 26? I'm already caught up. You're like, yeah, you should read 26. It's another
I
chapter.
thought
I
you
was
meant
like,
you didn't read 25.
oh, I read 25. I read up until 26. And then you're like, oh, I read 26. I was like,
No,
what
I
do
did
you mean
not
you
say
read
that.
26?
I
Yes, you
think-
did.
No, I didn't. I said I read 226.
All right, till next time, we read 1 through 26. We're gonna read
Oh,
from
hold on.
chapter 26 to 27. That guy James
doesn't
is
know
a
how to read.
no. He's just ahead of the game. He's prepared.
Yeah.
He's ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Subscribe, all that BS.
Wait, what chapters are we reading to?
Catch you on the next one. See ya.
Bye.